Good morning. Today is June 10th, 2021, and it is Thursday. I am so tired, and I'm a little bit awkward right now because I'm sitting in my car. I parked on the street so that my sister can get out just in case she actually got up before I got home and she needs to get out of the driveway. And I'm wondering if my neighbors can see me recording right now, but F it. You know what I mean? Fire truck it. So I am. I just got home after working out, and again, I'm really tired. I just thought I'd talk a little bit about how this connects with something that I heard recently. There is a channel, I think, that used to be called Your World Within, but they've since renamed it Eddie Pinero, who is the guy that does, essentially, he's the content creator on the channel. And anyway, so there was one of his speeches that he did talked about how there was a time when he went to run, I don't know if it was a 5K or what it was, but he went to run one of these things, and he had been sick, and he really, really didn't want to do it, but he went ahead and pushed himself, and he ended up, whenever he went to do it, even though he was sick and he wasn't feeling well, he ended up beating his best time, seconds per mile, or minutes per mile, like by several seconds or whatever. Sorry about the shaky camera. I'm trying to steady it on my steering wheel. But anyway, so he beats his time, his best time, his own personal best time per mile. And he's like, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't push myself, even though I didn't feel good. And so I'm experiencing something like that because I am exhausted. I've been kind of nose to the grindstone lately, and I plan on recording more about it, but my dad's been in the hospital for 2 weeks as of today, and he's not doing great, but he's not dying, but there's a lot going on. He's very sick. And and I mean, in theory, we're all dying. We're all dying every second of the day, every moment of the day. You're dying just a little bit. We're all dying. I'm dying. But there was a really scary period the first couple of days after he got admitted to the hospital that I didn't know if he was going to make it. It was really scary. And I've been dealing with those feelings. And then also dealing with him, trying to make sure that I make time to go see him, and not wanting to, not because I don't want to go see him, but because of how hard it is to see a loved one suffering or fighting, for their life, essentially. And anybody who's out there that has a loved one that's been in the hospital in a situation like that, it's hard when you go see a loved one in like pain. If they broke a limb or something like that, it's hard. In this case, there was a lot, and I've talked to several of you about the details on that, and it's been heartbreaking and scary and all this other, and so that's been extremely stressful. And then I started my summer classes on Monday and trying to make time to do my homework, and I've gotten started on it. Luckily, it's not due for a few days, but I also don't want to keep telling myself, oh, it's not due for a few days, I've got time, and then end up doing everything at the last minute or within the last 2 days that I have it, like I have a tendency to do. So anyway, so Dad's in the hospital. I started my summer classes, which are condensed. So it's not extra work overall, but it's just extra work in the same time frame, basically. And I'm still working full time, and I'm still cutting hair on the side, and I've cut a lot of hair in the last couple days. And I also decided, because, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about. I went ahead and decided to hire a personal trainer to help push me in the right direction, because I didn't know where to go from where I'm at. And all of the options were kind of overwhelming, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what would be best for me. I'm not sure how to go about this. And so I went ahead and I hired a personal trainer. And I'll talk more about it, but I also told him, I'm like, I don't want you to push me. I'm like, I want you to challenge me, but I don't want you to push me. I don't want you to be in my face and yelling at me, like, because I'll be like, fuck this, I'm out, and I'll walk out. I said, but I do want you to challenge me and, show me what you need to do or what I need to do. I said, if you can walk me through what I need to do, show me what I need to do. I'm like, I'm very self-motivated. I'll come. I'm like, you don't even have to come to meet me here. I said, I'll take care of it. I'll do it. We can check back with each other every week if you want. All that jazz. And there's my sister right there. So anyway, but anyway, I hired a personal trainer. And so I'm trying to go through what is essentially the assignments that he's given me. They're workouts, but, that he's given me. And so I've struggled so much to implement this because I hired him right before my dad went into the hospital. And so it made me feel like, great, now I have a plan. And now I feel like I can't execute because I'm so stressed out that I'm not sleeping as well. And I'm still trying to keep everything else, keep all the other balls in the air juggling with like work and then cutting hair on the side, which I love my job. And I love cutting hair. And that's why I think I can handle it. But I've also got these summer classes that just started. Dad's in the hospital. Everything's been so stressful. My family has been a little bit torn apart because of this, and I won't get into those details, but it's been really, really stressful. And so I've not gone to bed. And the reason why I'm sharing all this with you is because, coming back to that, but it's because you all have things that you're going through too. You all have things that you're going through. You all have all kinds of stress. There's positive stress and there's negative stress. There's stress that is just, it makes you wonderfully happy doing what you do, but it's still stress because it's adding to your plate. And then there's negative stress, of course, that I feel like tears you down even more than the positive stress, but the positive stress still counts. So even though I might be enjoying the things that I'm doing, I'm still beginning to get overwhelmed again. And that happens a lot, but I have to remember to take steps that I know I need to do the self-care so that I don't burn out and break down. And I've had some breakdowns. And I mean, there are other things too that I have had a lot of stress about. And one of them is deeply personal. It's really hard for me to talk about with essentially a cyber audience. And some of you I do not know well. That I have been dealing with extreme loneliness. I am single. I've got wonderful friends. I've got wonderful family. And I'm really hoping to find that right person. And it is heartbreaking sometimes when I don't know when it's going to happen for me. So that's been another like extreme stress. Like, it's really hard. And I know that there are a lot of you out there that feel the same way or have felt the same way. And so it's just really hard. I count myself very fortunate, and I'm extremely grateful for the support system that I have. I'm actually super grateful for this channel too, because when I feel really inspired to go ahead and record, I can let some of it out and maybe share my experience with somebody and let them know that they're not the only ones either. So dealing with all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm the only way, because and then feeling like a failure when you don't execute like you want to, that is so hard. Like, I feel like an absolute failure when I don't do the things that I need to do. There was a day that I got up late because I just didn't want to get out of bed. And I got to the gym late, and I got enough time in to do my like 5-minute walk, and then the stretching and the corrective exercises, which are basically, it's like a plank and a 2-legged bridge where you raise your butt into the air. It looks like an air thrust. Essentially, you're laying on the floor and you're thrusting the air. It's pelvic thrusting the air. It's kind of awkward. And I noticed that I think most people don't make eye contact whenever either they're doing the exercise or if I'm laying there doing the exercise. Today was funny too, because while I was doing it, I actually said good morning to somebody while they walked by. But kind of breaking out of that like awkwardness. But anyway, so I got enough to do that, but I didn't actually have enough time to actually get into the exercise. It got to the point where I looked at the clock. I'm like, I don't even think I'll be able to complete one set of all this. And I'm like, it's too much. And I felt like a total failure because I didn't get up on time so that I can get to the gym so that I can do what I need to do. And I think that that's the hard part when you feel like a failure, when you do those things that hold you back a little bit, and then you know that you could have done it differently, and you sit in your feelings in the moment and you just feel so bad. You feel bad for yourself and you feel bad about yourself because you know that you could say, I'm going to fix this tomorrow. I'll do what I need to do. And then tomorrow could come. And you know that that's a reality. Tomorrow could come and you don't do it because you had the exact same feelings and you gave into the same temptation to stay in the bed. You gave into the same voice that keeps telling you how comfy and cozy it is to be in bed and how you're so exhausted and all these reasons. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they're excuses, but they are also genuine reasons if you are extremely stressed out and you're just like worn out and exhausted. You don't want to get out of bed. So today is essentially like I was getting to because I get derailed. Today is another day that I actually got up what I call on time within the first 5 minutes of when your alarm goes off because I've got like 4 or 5 alarms set. So that I actually get up. I've got one at a clock that's across my room, but I learned how to beat that clock, and that's why that one's not as effective. Oh, and I spat there. Yikes. And then the other 4 are on my phone, but I'm trying to push myself to get out of bed during that first alarm. And they go off every 5 minutes, but during that first alarm, I need to get out of bed. And so this is day 3 of that. And the reason why this is significant is because I've been so busy with everything that I've been doing and so stressed out, and I've not been able to sleep as well. It'll be crazy. I'll go to bed and be so tired when I go to bed. And this isn't the first time that this has happened, but there was a nice period where I was actually going to bed and able to fall asleep within like 20 minutes. That's a big deal for me. Usually it's like an hour or so, if not more. And lately, because of all the stress, I've had trouble actually getting to sleep. But I was like, the only way that I'm going to be able to do this workout, and I need to do this workout, it's essential for my health and it's essential for the physical goals that I have and, your overall well-being, because working out does help you feel better and give you more self-confidence and actually, gives you energy to work better throughout the day and help keep you focused in all this. It's got positive effects that go beyond just making your body look better, and in so many ways, mentally and emotionally. You feel really good once you've completed it, and physically, and then it's a lot more far reaching than just that face value that it tends to have. So all of these things. And I was like, well, and also, I don't want to waste the $200 that I spent for a personal trainer, even though I chose not to have, I chose not to like contact him all the time. But yeah, having spent that, $200 on a personal trainer, and even though I was the one that chose less contact with him because I don't want somebody breathing down my neck the whole time, that is not how I work. I don't want to waste that money. And so there's all these different things. And I'm like, the only way I'm going to get that workout in effectively and the way I need to do it is if I get up earlier and I get to the gym earlier, because I don't have any other time in the day. I could do it in the evening, and this is one of the beautiful things. This is the beauty about learning yourself, about when you're growing and you're getting older and you're going through your own journey. You learn yourself, you get to know yourself, you get to know things that trigger different behaviors and everything. I know for a fact that once I'm home, I don't want to go anywhere else. So it's one thing if it's touch and go, like if I do have a haircut after work, after my full-time job, if I do have a haircut and I come home to get my equipment and I leave, that's one thing, in and out quick. But once I'm home for the evening, I don't want to go anywhere. And if I sit down, that's a death sentence, essentially. Like if I sit down, it's over. I'm done. I'm not doing anything for the rest of the night. I mean, and don't get me wrong, you could have the self-discipline and the willpower to get your ass off the couch after you've sat down and go do the thing that you need to do. But for me, with everything that's crammed in, and I know that a lot of other people feel this way, whether they have a lot going on or just that full-time job, it takes it out of you. And once you sit down, it's over. It's over. So So essentially, after work and after haircuts is out for me. And plus, I also know how exercise makes me feel. It usually makes me feel very good and I feel awake and all this other. So I can't do it right before bed because then I'm going to be awake and I'll have that much more trouble sleeping. Not because I'm stressed out, but because my body's pumped up and I'm ready to go. And it's like, there's nowhere to go. I have to sleep. I need to sleep. I need to take this time. This is the time that I've set aside to sleep. And so that like, I'm like, I can't do it in the evening. And now that I've got my classes started back up, I'm trying to discipline myself so that when I go on my lunch break, I'm very fortunate that I can eat on the clock while I'm working. I'm so grateful for that too. But when I go on my lunch break, I have to have the discipline to sit down and do my homework for my hour lunch break. And then I have some time in the evening after all these activities to sit down and do my homework. But a lot of times it really just depends on where I sit down and what's in front of me. Because if I sit down on the couch while my sister's watching a YouTube video, it's over. I'm not going to be getting up until I go to bed. And that could be a good hour. It could be an hour and a half. But that's the kind of, and I do believe in wind down time. But when you've got goals, and if you need to execute something, and you learn yourself and you know that that's one of your things that's just going to shut you down for the rest of the night, you have to have the self-discipline to stay on your feet. In my case, stay on your feet, go into the dining room, sit down at the table, crack open the book and do your work. Or in my case, if it's just a reading assignment, sometimes I just go into my room and I take my book into my room and I read in my room, because then when you remove yourself from those distractions, like my sister watching those YouTube videos, some of them I'm not interested in all because she's just into some other stuff, but some of it is fascinating and or very entertaining, and I sit there and I get sucked into it and I watch it, and that's how that happens. And then it's just like when you're on social media and you discover you might not get on very often. And I look like I'm on all the time, but I also manage our my job's Facebook page, so I have to keep it up. So it might look like that I'm on Facebook the entire time, but I'm really just keeping that page up so that if anybody does message and have any questions, or if I have to post anything to our Facebook page, it's there and ready to go. But I actually don't get on Facebook a whole lot and check out what's going on with everybody. But I know that if it's my downtime and I get on Facebook, there are a lot of times where I get sucked into just checking things out and scrolling, and then an hour or 2 hours go by. And I know people that do that with TikTok. They get on TikTok and they're on TikTok for an hour entertaining themselves with all this stuff, but then they don't get anything done, or they're not helping their mind grow. And sometimes you can still, when you're on YouTube, or if you're on TikTok and stuff, but sometimes it's 100% counterproductive. And sometimes it is good to unwind and do that. It's just trying to find that balance and to make sure that you're not just spinning your wheels, wasting time when you should be doing other things. If it is your downtime and that's what you enjoy to kind of just help you relax, and that's great. So it's one of those things where you just have to find your balance and know that you're still being productive and all this other. But so anyway, to get back to my point, about 15 minutes after I start talking about my point, because that's how I roll. I talk, and I love stories. I love listening to stories, and I like talking about things too, talking with people about things, and I like when they talk to me. I love listening to stories. But anyway, that's neither here nor there right now. So Eddie Pinero, or Your World Within, he talked about how, he wasn't feeling well that day. He was sick, had been sick, and he wasn't feeling well the day that he was supposed to run a 5K or whatever it was. And he went ahead and did it. And he ended up beating, his own personal best time per mile by several seconds, on average. And I did a personal best today, and I'm really surprised. I was so exhausted when I got out of bed at 4:47. And I mean, the entire time that I'm in bed, after my alarm went off, every excuse that I have been using for the last several weeks to stay in bed, every one of them back in my head. You're tired. You didn't get enough sleep. You need sleep to function, so you should probably go back to sleep. You need to do this. You need to do that. You're exhausted. Your whole body is achy. It's good to take a rest day. It's good to have time to sleep in. Sometimes you just need it, and your bed is so comfortable and you're so warm, and you like, and over, you haven't gotten enough sleep. You haven't gotten enough sleep. And then there's this other voice that's like, you want to do this. How bad do you want to do this? How bad do you want that fit body? And how bad do you want to be proud of yourself for achieving that? And how bad do you want to be proud of yourself for putting the work in? And the only way that you're going to do that is if you get up out of bed, and like, how much do you want this? And that this is going to affect, I mean, there's literally like two fighting people, but this is going to affect your entire day. You don't get up on time, you don't go work out, you're going to feel bad about not working out. You're going to feel bad because your quality of sleep that you chose to have instead of going to work out sucked, because you're still half-assed awake. You're half asleep, half awake, thinking about how you should be getting out of bed and you should working. So you're literally not even going to get much rest at all. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had days where I was so exhausted that when I did choose to go back to sleep, I passed right out. But those were genuine, like, today is worth it, today makes sense kind of things. This is one of those daily, like, just the argument just keeps going on. You're going to feel so bad. And then you're going to beat yourself up for not getting to the gym, and you're going to feel like a failure. So you're emotionally going to be fucked, essentially. And I apologize for the language, but you're going to be fucked emotionally because you're going to feel like a failure. You're going to be fucked mentally because not only did you not go work out, and you're going to be thinking about how you didn't go work out, which takes your focus away from work. But also, you're going to be not as clear and sharp at work because you didn't get that energy pump in it, and that blood rushing and everything. You didn't set your physiology up to be able to focus as well and execute as well. And on top of that, I'm the kind of person, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the kind of person that cannot roll out of bed and hit the shower immediately. I need time to wake up. And so if I don't get up out of bed and go work out, which helps wake me up, then there's a good chance that I won't get a shower because I can't. And it's can't, but I don't get right into that shower. I feel like I need time to wake up. So in theory, yeah, I could discipline myself to roll out of bed and just hop in the shower. That's a self-discipline thing, but I know how I operate, and I like having the time to wake up and to be clear and to take that shower. And I really like, this might sound kind of weird, but I really like it when I do work out and I'm sweaty as hell and I stink a little, and I go in there and I wash it all off, because to me, it's like, I did it. It's almost like sealing the deal. I did it. And so anyway, getting back to that, if you don't get up and you don't go work out and you don't get yourself woke up and you end up not taking a shower, then you're going to feel grody all day long because you're sweaty and you're fat. And there are sweaty places when you're fat. There are extra sweaty places that do not feel good when you're sitting in it all day long. And you're just going to feel disgusting. And then you're going to beat yourself up even more because you should have just got out of bed. So it's like these fighting voices, like, oh, comfort and extra sleep, even though it doesn't end up usually being extra sleep. It ends up being just this stressful half sleep, half awakeness, and simultaneously wonder if you're going to end up oversleeping your alarms and all that, so it's one of those things where it's like, you have to push yourself. I had to push myself. And then I got up and I mean, I was a zombie. I don't even remember like exactly everything because I was a zombie, and I'm so glad that I wrote down my routine. And my routine is my go-to when I'm so tired that I can't even like think. So I've got a routine for in the morning. And I go through that list. I literally top to bottom, when I'm so zombified that I'm like, up, coffee, pre-workout, which is my drink that I drink before my workout, up, pre-workout and coffee. And then pee is on my list. And then make your bed and get dressed. And then go work out. And so all these things are on my list, right? But that's my list. And if I literally am so tired that I can't think properly, I go to that list and it's just top to bottom. And the reason why it might sound really funny that I put pee in there, because for some people it's just an automatic thing. Oh, and morning motivation. another one that's on the list that I get done. Like, it's just all these things I listen to while I'm getting ready to go work out, which helps get me pumped up for it. But it's like, if I don't follow these things, if I didn't write it out, and on the days that I'm super zombie, when routine isn't happening because I can't even, it keeps me focused, because I have a tendency to start one thing and then in the middle of it, oh yeah, I have to go do this other thing. And in the middle of that, oh yeah, I have to go do this other thing. And in the middle of that first thing, I haven't finished that yet. So I might literally get ready to start my morning motivation, just for example, get on my YouTube, try to start my video, and I opened the YouTube app. Man, I really gotta pee. And so I head to the bathroom. I gotta start my coffee before I pee, because if I don't start my coffee, then by the time I'm done peeing and getting this other stuff, it won't be done. So I go to start my coffee and I'm like, well, maybe I should go ahead and make my pre-workout. And then, I mean, this is my thought process. So I start all these tasks and stop them to go start another task, and then I don't get them done, or I end up wasting time bouncing back and forth and then getting confused, because I'm like, where am I even at right now? So that little wrote all those things down in the order, the basic order that I need them in. And on the days where I'm functioning great, I can bounce around that list. It's no problem. I can do this first instead of that. But like a day like today, I had to follow that list. And so it was really rough, and I'm still very tired, and I do have a fog, but I got to the gym. I started my workout. I even got there a little later than I wanted to, like maybe 5 or 10 minutes later than I wanted to actually get there, because my entire body was dragging ass this morning, and my mind couldn't function. Still followed the list, still got all the things done that I needed to on my list, but I mean, it was just one of those, I'm really, really tired, and the stress is catching up, right? And I even talked to one of my gym buddies for, probably a good 5 minutes or so, that goes there like almost daily, like I try to do, and I'm executing finally. But we also at this point where, we let each other go. That way we can get to our workout and get going. And I actually did this circuit exercises, which perhaps for another video, I'll go into what I do there. But you're supposed to go through this circuit as many times as you can within the time frame that you've given yourself at the gym. And I did it 4 times today, and that's my personal best. 3 was my personal best before that, because I just didn't have time to do more than that, or didn't allow myself more time to do that, or I was still getting used to it or whatever, so I didn't know exactly what I needed to lay out and everything. Now I know what I'm laying out, and I did it, and even got to talk to one of my gym buddies, and still executed and did it 4 times before 7 o'clock. So that was huge for me. That was huge. I'm like, I am so glad that I got up. I mean, this is that your negative behaviors that are habits perpetuate more negative habits. And that's a resounding theme in all of the materials that I have read and the materials that I have listened to and watched when it comes to like personal growth and development. Your negative habits will perpetuate more negative habits and more negative thoughts and more negativity in general. Your positive behaviors and positive habits will perpetuate positivity, just the same as the negative stuff. But which way do you really want to feel throughout the day? So I chose to get up. I made a choice to get up. I got up. I did what I needed to do, and now I feel so much better. And I mean, I would have been satisfied. And while I was doing my workout, while I was doing it, I'm like, I could stop at 3. I could stop at 3. And I'm like, I have time for 4. He said, as many times as you can do within the time. I have time for a 4th one. So I pushed myself, and I got started on the 4th one, and I did it. Got everything cleaned up, and talked to somebody for a few more minutes, and walked out at like 7:05. Like, how cool is that, right? So, I mean, this is huge. So, huge victory this morning. Getting up out of bed within that first 5 minutes, within that first alarm, because it goes off for about 5 minutes before my next one kicks in, if I don't hit it. Did not hit the alarm, got up out of bed, 4:47, victory. That's one victory. Then I did all the things that I needed to. I got to the gym. That's victory number 2. And then I executed. And not only did I execute my workout for the day, I also went farther than I've gone before. So that's another huge victory for the day. And I'm also really pumped. This is a side note more, but I'm really pumped about my coffee because I make coffee every day. And I've said that before in previous videos. I drink coffee. But I went, and I'll explain why in another video as well, but I went from having sugar in my coffee to no sugar, but I'm drinking stevia with it. And we also, because of the main ingredient and the creamer that I was using, I stopped using it. I literally dumped it out and stopped using it. And then I was drinking milk with it. And then we ran out of milk. We've been out of milk for like probably 3 or 4 days now. And so I'm like, well, I hate shopping and I really don't have time, or at least I'm not going to make time at the end of my busy day to go get some milk, and which is something I could be doing right now instead of filming, but I'm not going to go get any milk so that I can put it in my coffee. I'll just have to drink black coffee with stevia, and the stevia tastes different, so different than milk. It's a little bit bitter. You know, it tastes like it's like a sweetener. It's an artificial sweetener, so it's got that taste to it. But it was really cool because the day before yesterday, I took a sip of my coffee, my black coffee, with one heaping spoonful of stevia in this big mug, which is basically a half a pot of coffee in there, a half a pot. So about 6 to 7 cups of coffee in there. One heaping spoonful of stevia, which matches sugar. It's like, you know, the ratio is 1-to-1 for sugar if you only use however much sugar. So 1 heaping spoonful of stevia, which because of how fluffy it is, it's probably about it's probably equivalent to 2 heaping spoonfuls of sugar, which was what I was doing in these. No creamer. So that's out. And I was like, I took a sip of it and I'm like, man, that's good stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I said, that's good stuff. What? It's so good. And I'm like, this is it. I didn't think I'd be able to even get used to having the stevia in it. And then when I ran out of like creamer sugar or creamer milk, I was like, well, I didn't really run out of the creamer. I threw it out, but I also ran out of milk, and I'm like, I'm enjoying my coffee. I'm enjoying black coffee with stevia in it. I'm enjoying black coffee with stevia in it. But, you know, after about a week and a half of drinking the stevia, you know, it wasn't quite 2 weeks, but it was about a week and a half, and I was actually enjoying drinking it without sugar. And to top that off, it's black coffee with stevia. And I've never liked black coffee, like ever. So this is a big step for me. So anyway, I just wanted to share those things with you. So I've got some victories going on big time, and I'd like to keep the flow going. And I know that life is a cyclic. It's full of ups and downs, and you know, I'm going to have some downtimes coming. I know that, but I'm going to embrace this joy, and I'm going to embrace these victories, and I'm going to celebrate them. It's going to be awesome. So I would highly recommend that you go check out Eddie Pinero. It's EDDIEPINERO. He has a lot of essentially speech videos that are put to music where he talks about things, and it's got it's really beautiful. He's got a lot of good things to say, and I would also encourage you to push yourself today. Do the things, you know, if there's something that you need to do, you know, you need to do, and it's one of those things that you just keep, like, you've got that voice telling you not to do it, you know, fight that voice. Listen to the logical voice that knows that it's going to be better for you in the long run if you just do it, whatever it might be. So, that being said, you know, it's time for me to go take a shower. I do stink. It was so funny because I was in the gym thinking, God, I stink. And these are all fresh clothes out of the dryer. All of them. I stink. Provided I hadn't showered yet, because I was saving that for after the workout. But my God, this is intense. So anyway, I just thought that was really funny. That I stink. I actually stink. After like one workout and the first and only use of these clothes because of how badly I stink. And I'm like, wow, it's different. Like I've worked out before where I've worked out so hard that I've stunk, but usually it's because I've used, like, it was the second use of my gym clothes essentially. And it's so funny how this time It's the first use of my gym clothes straight out of the dryer, like clean, and I stink, and it's crazy. But anyway, so I will not keep you any longer. If you've stayed to the very last of this video, I appreciate you listening to me go on. I hope that you took something away from it. I hope that you can empathize. Kind of. I hate if you're going through similar situations. I hate that you have to go through them, but at the same time, they're what make us grow as people. So I hope that we connect in that way. And I've got to get out of here. It's like we're getting close. So it's like 7:48 now, so I've got to get going because I have to work at 8:30. Luckily for me, I live a 4-minute drive away from work, so that's super awesome. But sometimes the thought of that keeps me from getting there on time. Oh, I've got, it's a short drive. But yeah, so that's another self-discipline thing and being realistic with myself. But anyway, again, have an awesome day. Have a beautiful, lovely, wonderful June day. And be your best self, live your best life, make good choices. Those 3 things in my outro that I will eventually have down. And take care of yourself and enjoy your black coffee with stevia in it. Like me. And I will talk to you in a future video. Take care. Have a great day.